Hey everyone, welcome back to the Jen and Gina show. I'm Gina and my friend Jen is on the phone. Say hi, Jen. Today we're going to be talking about the feasibility studies, sort of where we left off on our last episode. So this is episode 4. But before we even talk about the bids for the feasibility study, we need to roll it back to where this conversation began. So back in February of 2025, the school board hosted a special meeting. It was an informational meeting for the finance committee. And during that meeting, they discussed options of how they were going to reduce costs in order to balance the budget going into the June meeting. And we were also having discussions about closing one of the mountain schools during that time. And so there was a lot of things that were being discussed during that meeting as far as reduction of finances were concerned, or expenses. I'm sorry, expenses were concerned. But during that meeting, Meadows mentioned doing an internal feasibility study because he felt that the administration should be able to do so within our district. And also, he had mentioned that he was a part of the consolidation process that happened at Fraser. And to me, it sort of indicated that since he had experience and the administration should be able to collect the information, that they should be able to provide whatever information they needed to the state in order to perform the consolidations for Uniontown. And he also mentioned in that meeting something in regards to the IU coming in to do that, what I thought was a feasibility study as well. And oddly enough, his comments were not included in the meeting, or in the meeting minutes, and I did inquire about that through the right to know, a right to know request, and I was told, since it was an informational meeting, that the key information that was in that meeting was included, and if I had any disputes, I could file an appeal with the Pennsylvania Office of Open Records. And so I really, at the time, didn't feel that it was necessary because I didn't really know how important those notations were until recently when we were looking at all of this information in regards to what is going to happen for the future consolidations for Uniontown. And so then on April 7th, on the agenda for April 7th, under Finance and Technology, item number 6, they approved to solicit proposals for firms who specialize in educational feasibility studies. And so I inquired when these ads went out, and the ads for the bids went out on April 9th, 16th, and 23rd through the Herald Standard. And so the district received bids from various companies, and the deadline for those submissions was May 2nd. And this is a very important date to note because later on we'll tell you why we thought that it was odd the way that this all transpired. And so on April 28th, the IU came in and gave us a presentation in which they had an extensive report. It was multiple pages with a lot of information regarding their suggestions on how to save money for the district. And there was a lot of other information collected during that time and included in the information that they gave us, which made me think that this could possibly be the feasibility study that the other people were inquiring about. Well, to my surprise, when I actually went back and reviewed all of the information from those meetings, it turns out this was yet another finance meeting, which we paid somebody from the IU $90 an hour to collect this information. And the person who presented the information was Daniel Solomon. Not sure if that was the person who was gathering the information or not. And during that time, he had talked about consolidating other schools and also other cost-effective measures that the school can take. That included reducing the middle school down to the high school and getting rid of the block scheduling. And so those are rabbit holes that we'll save for another day, but that's which leads us to May 2nd. There was supposed to be a public opening of the bids, and what happened with that, Jen?
Not really quite sure, but it was noted at 2 p.m. that Ms. Blackson would open them at central office.
And let me stop you there for 1 second. Who's going to go down to central office at 2 p.m. in order to witness bids being open? I mean, most people are working during that time, or they're getting ready to pick their kids up from school around that time, right?
Correct. So I don't know why we just didn't wait till the May 5th school board meeting to open them.
Right.
Whatever. When they say public opening, I'm suggesting that it should have been videoed. There's no record of this public opening now. And what's key to take in on that is when you open all four people's bids, everybody submitted a bid and a proposal on May 2nd.
A letter reflecting their desire to do,
right.
Participate.
Their desire to do feasibility.
Yes.
On our whole entire district, every building.
May 2nd.
However, Crabtree only submitted a letter that day. They did not submit their entire proposal until May 13th.
Yes.
So why did we wait?
So yeah, that's interesting because after the May 2nd deadline, there was a meeting that happened shortly after, which was on May 5th. And so our question is, why would they wait until the June meeting, the June 16th meeting, in regards to voting on the item number, it was item number 31, I believe, because anybody that follows the school district has followed Uniontown knows, and I would venture to say this is for most districts, that the June meeting is usually the biggest meeting of the year because they have to present a lot of information. It's the year end. It's the fiscal end of the fiscal end of the school year, and they have to submit a balanced budget to the district, or I'm sorry, to the state, in regards to what their budget is going to be for the following year. So it's always a meeting that's ending one year and preparing for the next year. And there's multiple agenda items. So buried amongst all of those items was item, I believe, number 31 under finance and technology. The item was recommend approval of a district-wide feasibility study by Crabtree, Rohrbaugh and Associates, as presented in attachment number 18. And so on the attachment is their fee breakdown. And it is very confusing to me how much this is actually going to cost the district. However, on the attachment, it is illegible. Like, you cannot read any of the information that is presented in that attachment. And so you would actually have to go to the feasibility study that was on the website, and I didn't even find the fee schedule or whatever they referred to it as until the very last page, and it's a 283 page document. So I'm not really sure if the 14,500 is the cost of the feasibility study, or if it's an agreement that they entered into that once they do the feasibility study, they receive percentages of other expenses that happen along the way. I don't know. To me, it would seem that there are additional charges that are going to ensue once the actual process of the consolidation takes place. Is that what you read as well, Jen?
That's what I took it as, because they're going to add transportation, postage, overnight postage, percentage rates for different things. It seems like it's an ongoing possibility that we might be paying these people for months.
Right. So my question is, what is the bottom line? What is the contract? What is the bottom line? How much are we actually going to pay? Is it $14,500, or is it going to cost us tens of thousands of dollars more? And is it something that's necessary in order to move forward with consolidations, because we already closed the building without one, unless they were considering the information presented by the IU as some sort of feasibility study or information that was presented to the state, because we're unclear about that either. Or I'm sorry, unclear on that too. So there's a lot of questions, and there's a big meeting coming up on Monday, and there's a lot of stuff on the agenda. There's another discussion of a closing of one of the Valley schools. And my question is, why are they discussing the closing of that first prior to looking into the consolidation from the middle school to the high school, considering the high school is highly underutilized, especially when the kids go to tech in the afternoon? So why aren't we talking about consolidating as a whole, especially when the feasibility study has been approved and they're going to begin that process? So why is it even brought up on that agenda? I don't know. I understand the time frame. They have 90 days. I'm not. Are they doing it in phases? Are they doing it one by one? Why isn't there a discussion of the overall view of what is happening? We want to know why this feasibility study has been they engaged in this feasibility study so late in the game. There's lots of questions here, right, Jen?
There a lot. And if anybody's confused and wants to go to the meeting on Monday and needs assistance on maybe what they want to question the school board on, you can always message us on that matter.
Yes.
But there is a lot that you need to review, including future substitutes that may be coming into the building.
Yes. And also positionings that they're reinstating in the schools where they furloughed other administrators for. So there's just a lot of questions I would ask if I were at the meeting. And also, if you're concerned about how the consolidations are going, why are they not, looking at the most obvious, which is consolidating the middle school to the high school? And at this point, they've been talking about this for quite some time. I think the writing was on the wall last year. It was brought up several times that other consolidations were happening district wide throughout most of those meetings when talking about consolidations. And it's inevitable because nobody attends these meetings. These school board members are making irresponsible business decisions. They're spending money that they might not necessarily need to spend. And nobody's ever going to question why. $10,000 here, $20,000 here. If you add up all of the wasteful spending, it adds up to salaries of people that have gotten furloughed, which is detrimentally affecting the education of your kids. And also, you have to question, the structure of Franklin. To me, I feel that it is hindering a lot of the kids that attend the school there because there's literally one class per grade and there's no way to separate them out and learning abilities. And I think that's important in the growth and the development of the education for those kids. I think a lot of people will probably be disappointed or disagree with me whenever I say that, but it's absolutely true. And I can tell you from experience because my experience now is very different than it was a year ago. So that's where we're at, and we need to have further discussions about that because that's what's on the pipeline. I don't think it's a matter of yes or no. I think it's an informational item of what's to come. What do you think, Jen?
Correct. I mean, that's just inevitable. I do believe they're going to end up closing Mark Clay, Franklin, and Lafayette. We all know this. It's been brought up enough times that it's definitely happening. We just need to get on board with it and try to save what we can financially within our school.
Right. And make sure that money is applied to the kids and not on administrative costs or hiring people that are not necessary or bringing people back into the district that, is that necessary or are there people that were looked over for certain positions that were capable of doing those jobs as well? And so that's why it's important to attend the meetings and to make sure that they are making decisions that are best for your kids.
Yes, you have to hold them accountable.
All right, so we're about out of time for this episode. The next episode, we hopefully will update on what's happening at the school board meeting as well as digging a little deeper into those consolidations that are down the line. All right, talk to you later. Bye.
See ya.